Inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. Every man, every woman on this planet yearns to march to the tune of their own drummer, to chart their own course. Life is not about numbers or money, it's about people. Even son, business is not about numbers or money, it's about people. The top thought leaders are always learning and growing. But you should charge something commensurate with the value of the solution you deliver. If you don't get what you should get, you won't give what you should give, because money is an energy exchange, right? If you're giving more than you're getting energetically, it's not going to work after a while. You can't just say, I'm going to raise my price if you don't believe it in your heart. And everyone needs someone to believe in them. And you can look back on people who believed in you when you didn't, and what impact that had on you. You can look back and you can go, yeah, that guy, that gal.
Hey guys, welcome back to the BAD Academy show. I'm your host Alex Thorick, and today I have a really interesting guest, someone who has quite a lot of energy. I did a bit of research and saw his content, and let me introduce you to Nicky Billou, who is the world's greatest podcast guest. He is a 2-time New York Times bestselling author. He has helped dozens of entrepreneurs add 6 to 8 figures to their annual income. He has been called the Napoleon Hill of the 21st century because he interviewed over 500 top thought leaders in the world like Jack Canfield, John Maxwell, and Mario Forleo, and he has made over 1,000 media appearances. Welcome to the show.
Alex, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm excited to chat, and I do have quite a lot of questions in a way. So, but before we'll dive into that, could you introduce yourself a little bit more, and maybe share more details about yourself and what is it that you do? Like I personally do know, but I would love the audience to hear as well.
Absolutely. I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran and turned me and my family's world upside down. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. This was not going to be a place to raise a Christian family. So he and my mom, they got together, they made a plan, and they executed relentlessly until they got my brothers and I out of Iran. It took them about 3.5, 4 years to do it all. Now, we settled where I now live in Toronto, in Canada. At the time, though, brother, I got to tell you, I was 11 years old. I didn't want to leave my home, my friends. But looking back, it was the single greatest thing mom and dad could have done for me and my 2 brothers. They took us from a legacy of tyranny to a legacy of freedom. Alex, inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. Every man, every woman on this planet yearns to march to the tune of their own drummer, to chart their own course. And to me, if you're an entrepreneur and you live in the West, you need to just be such a champion for freedom, right? Without freedom, you don't have free expression. Without free expression, you can't speak your ideas that you're going to turn into your entrepreneurial dreams. And without that, you can't have free enterprise. Without free enterprise, there's no success in entrepreneurship for you. You'll be like one of those third world countries, right? And we need to be very careful in the West to make sure that the powers that be don't take our precious freedoms away from us. Like Justin Trudeau tried to do a couple years back, with his knocking down of our rights and freedoms, smashing the freedom convoy who were standing up for all our rights and freedoms for us. And everybody, and not this is a political statement here, but we need to be, if we're entrepreneurs, we got to believe in freedom. We got to stand up for freedom, period, full stop, end of story. That's the way it's got to be. And my late father, he was an entrepreneur. Alex, if you knew him, you would love him. Man, if you knew him, you were looking for work, he'd sit you down in his office. He'd call all his friends and he'd go, yo, you got to hire this guy, until one of them hired you. If you were trying to start a business, he'd sit you down. He'd listen to you. He'd come up with his best ideas to help you succeed in launching that business, including introducing you to the right people, getting you access to capital, getting you access to clients. And if you were his friend, you were trying to buy a house, a car, an apartment, you didn't have quite enough money, the bank wouldn't give you any more. He'd give you a loan, Alex, so you could buy that car, that house, that apartment, and he'd never let you pay it back. If you tried to pay it back, he'd go, come on, man, get out of here. And then people come to me and they go, whoa, Nicky, come on, man. That's that you're telling us fairy tales. There's nobody like that in real life. That sounds like a Hollywood movie. Who's like that? And I said, well, the late, great Napoleon Billou, for one, was like that. Then they go, come on, what's in it for him, right? Cynical people say that. And I go, a couple of things. First of all, he was a devout and committed Christian. He believed he'd been blessed by God and his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And it was his duty as a devout and committed Christian to share those blessings with his fellow man. But secondly, brother, he did it because he could. He was rich. He was successful. I wanted to be just like my dad. And when I was growing up, my dad, man, he was my hero. Everywhere I went, he'd say to me, son, life is not about numbers or money. It's about people. I go, okay, Dad. And he said, even son, business is not about numbers or money. It's about people. And I'm like, Dad, how's that work? Without money, there's no business, right? And he said, but son, that's true. But without people, there's no need for money. See, what is business? Imagine, Alex, a Venn diagram. You draw one circle and it is called people. The other one is problems. And the other one is profit. And he said, you solve problems for people for a profit. And where all three circles intersect, that's the purpose of business. You solve acute problems for amazing people and you make an awesome profit. That's the awe-inspiring purpose of business. And a lot of entrepreneurs, I got into the business of serving entrepreneurs because I wanted to help entrepreneurs out because they remind me of my father. They're great people. They want to help people. But a lot of entrepreneurs, Alex, especially earlier in their journey when they're under a couple $1,000,000, they're not so good at business. They're good at helping people, but they're not good at business, especially sales, especially marketing. So me, I come from a business family. I'm amazing at business. So I thought I'm going to help these people. And the first thing I realized is sales marketing is the problem. A lot of people get scared of those two things, especially sales. They don't want to be seen as pushy, salesy, reeking of commission breath when they walk in the room. You know what I mean by commission
Yeah.
breath,
Oh yeah.
Alex? Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I
So
used, I used to be afraid of it as well.
so here's the deal, Alex. I could see these good people. They couldn't get the business they wanted. They suffered because they wouldn't go after business because they didn't want to be seen in a certain way. So someone they should have gone after, they wouldn't. And then some charlatan marketer would come in and scoop up that business. And they don't care whether they deliver or not. And everybody loses. You lose because you don't get the business. The client loses because they don't get the problem solved. Even the charlatan loses because what goes around comes around. The sum total of goodness in the world goes down. So I go, I can help these people. What can I do here? And it just came to me. I need to help people reframe how they look at sales. Let's look at sales not as sales, but as service, as love. Because, Alex, nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold. But, Alex, don't you love buying from a caring human being
Mm-hmm.
trying to help you, was an advocate for you? So, advocacy rather than sales and closing. And just teaching people this help them double, triple, quadruple their sales. And this is the first thing I'm going to say to you, that you need to take the attention off of you. You need to put the attention on the other person. You can't be thinking, I hope they like me. Are they going to buy from me? Are they going to do business with me? Oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh my God. Instead, you got to be thinking, thank you, God, for putting this person on my path. I hope that I'm worthy of the challenge and I can help them. What are they dealing with? God, show me so I can be the instrument of thy will. When you take the attention off of you and you put on the other person, you're not worried about how they think of you, what they want, what their perception of you is, whether you're being looked at as salesy. You're thinking, I'm going to serve this person, and people feel that, right? And
Yeah.
I had a client, um, and this client, man, really, really good person. Okay, good person. He's an older fellow. He's a relationship coach, and his business was, I'm going to use a technical term, crap. It's a technical business term. His business was crap. And I sat with him and I saw him have conversations with people, and he was just thinking about it. They're gonna like me. They're gonna buy from me the whole time. And I go, you got to stop that, man. Stop thinking about that. Start thinking about, am I able to help them? Am I the right person? What is the impact of this on them, on their family? He did that. He went from making literally $2,000 or less a month, Alex, which in Toronto, is not that much money, right?
That's nothing.
A week later, he made 8,000 in a week, and he was like shocked. He says, "What happened?" I said, "You listened to your coach. That's what happened. Your business is no longer that technical business term crap." And
Mm-hmm.
then a week after that, he made another $6,000 sales. Within the month, he made $20,000. He went from $2,000 to $20,000 in a month,
That is
simply by
awesome.
taking his attention off of himself and how they were perceiving him and putting his attention where it belonged on the client and how he could serve them. And if you're listening to this and that's you, and your attention is you don't want to be perceived a certain way, I'm here to tell you you don't have to be. And if it's too daunting for you to do it by yourself, reach out to me, give me a call. I'll show you how you can take the attention off of you and put it on other people.
Yeah, because honestly, I agree with you 100%. In my case, when I started the entrepreneurial journey, I didn't want to feel pushy or seem pushy or salesy. And then my one of my first coaches, he pretty much told me the same thing. It's like sales is a service. Like you're there to help people. And in reality, whether it's sales or marketing, people don't really care about you. They want to know what's in it for them. So if you
Yeah.
can go in with an open heart and really, as you said, try to resolve their problem and give them, see if you can provide the solution, then in that case, they'll go ahead and work with you.
Yes.
I love it. That is awesome. So I did mention that you've interviewed over 500 thought leaders, and I wanted to ask you. I know those people. I've learned from them myself. What has been one of the most surprising or maybe impactful lessons you learned from those conversations?
Look, that's a great question. What I can tell you is the top thought leaders are always learning and growing. They are interested in learning from me as much as they are in teaching to the
Hmm.
audience. Um, and it's a very, very good question because I want to tell you a story of one of my clients who learned this the hard way. So it's amazing how the more successful someone is, when they're truly at the top of their game as a thought leader, they're more humble. I had a client that I worked with who I took to $1 million a year as a personal trainer.
Hmm.
You got to get that's a lot of money for personal training.
It is, yeah. And
It's a
today,
lot of money for
especially,
anybody. It's a lot of money
yep,
for anybody, but for a personal
yep,
trainer, it's a
yep,
shitload of
and
money, right?
especially in today's market.
um, and when he first came to me, he was the most coachable man on the planet after he learned this lesson. Before he wasn't. So he comes to me and he's a good guy, high energy. I want to help people. I'm a trainer. I'm only making $1,000, $1,200 a month. Help me, help me. I live in Toronto. I can't pay my rent, right? So I talked to him and I said, "Hey, what's going on? Who do you help?" I help anybody. I can help them lose weight, gain muscle, whatever you want. That's not how it works, buddy. You need to focus on who you help and what the problem is. He goes, okay, I want to work with doctors. Why? My dad's a doctor. I love my dad. Okay, and doctors have a lot of money. And I said, well, that's no, it's not a reason to help people. And at first, he didn't listen. He wasn't coachable. A few months later, he got two clients. Not a great result. He came to me. He goes, it's not working. I said, yeah, because you're not listening to me. You need to like narrow your focus. He goes, okay. How about cardiologists? That's narrowing. I'm like, why cardiologists? They make more money than doctors. I'm like, are you crazy? I just told you that's not a good reason. No, I'm going to do it. Wasn't coachable. He got zero clients, zero. And then serendipity sent him a man with a missing limb, Paralympic athlete, Papito Wilson, African Cuban, lost his leg in a childhood accident. The two of them, they really got along. They did great work together. He helped this guy win medals at some major competitions. Then he comes to me and he's all apologetic. He said, Nicky, I should have listened to you. I'm an idiot. I said, why? He said, you told me not to go after the money and I didn't listen. And I learned my lesson and I'm going to be coachable. And he said, I'd really like to work with people with missing limbs. I said, yeah, why? He said, because they're good people and they need help. Nobody else is trying to help them. I can help them. That was powerful. That was
Mm-hmm.
powerful. But it gets better. So remember, he's a one-on-one personal trainer, right? One-on-one. In 6 weeks, he signs up 400 clients. One-on-one personal trainer. Now, Alex,
Wow.
you understand that business, right?
Yep.
Are
Very
you
well.
able to train one-on-one 400 people? It's impossible, right? It's not.
Nope. There's no way you can scale that on your
No,
own.
no.
Or
So he and I, as he was growing the business, we had some emergency late night calls about how to redo his business model. So he started to do online coaching because with online coaching, you can coach 400 people, right? And so
mm-hmm.
we did. So Alex, remember I told you he made $1,000, maybe $1,200 a month on a good month. Well, he started making $100,000 a month, and he made that much money when he stopped trying to make money, and he started wanting to help people, and he narrowed his message.
Yep. Going after the specific niche, which is extremely important. But I think in this story, the most important lesson is that he didn't go after the money because there's
Yeah,
always the reason why behind it,
yeah.
and that's what's really pushing you.
So I want to say one more thing about this. Why do you think he was able to sign up so many clients so quickly?
Because he could relate to the clients and he knew their pain points or
He knew
the
their pain
needs,
points.
the need of the client, not necessarily
He
maybe the
knew their
pain
pain
point.
points. But here's what you got to understand: no other personal trainer wanted to work with people with missing limbs because what they saw was they can't work out. So what's the
Mm,
point? When my client, his name is Dan, when Dan
mm-hmm.
met these guys, he saw they could work out, and he also saw that he had a chance to give them some self confidence and self belief. Because if you want to put yourself in the shoes of a person with a missing limb, they're probably not happy that they have one or more missing limbs. Would you agree with that? This
Oh
is
yeah.
not they didn't this was not their childhood dream to miss a limb, right? And secondly, they were probably sensitive, um, lacking in confidence about their ability to work out, and maybe thinking that they weren't as good as people who had all their limbs in other areas of life too, feeling a little bit like a victim, possibly, right? Dan's message was, I see you. You're a human being. You're just like everybody else. You're just as good as anybody else. And I'm going to show you how to believe that and own that. That is way more powerful than I'm going to freaking train you. That's why he signed up 400 clients in 6 weeks.
So that is a deeper level, and it all comes from the mindset. Speaking of the beliefs, um, do you see with your clients that you work with, is there a pattern of them having specific limiting beliefs that stop them from doing certain things, just like in case with Dan?
That's a great question. Yes, is a short answer. And I've got another story to tell you, which will demonstrate it. Far too many people in business undervalue themselves. They don't charge enough. Now, I don't believe in price gouging. I don't think you should charge a stupid amount of money just for the hell of it. But you should charge something commensurate with the value of the solution you deliver. So if you don't, you know, if you don't get what you should get, you won't give what you should give, because money is an energy exchange,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're giving more than you're getting energetically, it's not going to work after a while, because you won't want to give.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two reasons people have that limiting belief. One of them is they actually really believe they're not good enough, in which case we got to work on that. Secondly, they believe they're good enough, but they don't believe the market is willing to pay, right? So this client of mine, he was a successful guy. He made 6 figures a year. He had an acupuncture clinic, Eastern Scholars Healing Arts, it was called, in Manhattan. It was busy. He had lots of clients. He made 150,000 a year. And he came to me and he said, I'd really like to make $1 million a year, because, I work really hard and I'd like to make more money. I looked at his whole business and everything was great except for how he charged. He charged too little.
Mm.
And I told him that. And I said, you need to raise your prices. He says, okay, how much? 10%? Like 20%? No, no, no. 30%? I said, buddy, you need to 20 times your price. He said, I can't. Calm down. You don't need to hyperventilate. 20 times. No, I won't. No one pay. That's it. Relax. I finally calmed him down, and he wouldn't do it. But I managed to convince him to 7 times his price. Not 20, but 7. So, Alex, in 4 months, he got so much new business in at this new price that in 4 months, he made $1.2 million. In 4 months. $1.2 million.
10x.
In 4 months, not a year. So it's really more like
Oh, actually, yeah, it's even more. Yeah,
30x.
yeah, yeah,
30x.
yeah, yeah, yeah. From
Right?
150. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can't just say, I'm going to raise my price if you don't believe it in your heart. My father used to say, and this will be kind of like my last story that I'm going to tell you, right? My father used to say to me, son, everyone needs someone to believe in them. You need that. I need that. Because there's days when we don't believe in ourselves.
Oh yeah, plenty.
And the reason why people fail in business is because their lack of belief makes them stop. And he said to me, your job, son, is to believe in people. When they don't believe in themselves, you give them that spark of belief, and you keep giving them that spark until it turns into a small fire, and then a big fire, and then a roaring fire of belief. And then they're good. But that's your job as a human being on this planet. And for the last story I say to you, this is my last story, is this one that I told you isn't the last story. The next story I'm going to tell you will be the last story, and then we'll wrap up. Is that when you believe in someone, it it's miraculous.
Mm-hmm.
It gets things out of the way. And you can look back on people who believed in you when you didn't and what impact that had on you. You can look back and you can go, yeah, yeah, that guy, that gal. And I had a woman come to us from Ottawa, actually, from Ottawa. And she ran one of the oldest and largest personal development firms in the world, Canadian division. And she brought in a guy to help her run the business. And at first, things were great. But just like Steve Jobs back in the day when he brought in John Scully to help him run Apple, after a while, their visions of the future diverged. And the board of the company sided with him, just like they sided with Scully over Jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
just like Jobs, they kicked her out like they kicked him out. How do you get kicked out of a company you start? Well, it happens when there's board of directors involved. For 18 months, she was lost adrift, right? Someone introduced her to me. Started working with us, and we could see all this. We believed in her. We poured into her. We loved on her. We showed her how to narrow her focus. We showed her how to go after customers. And remember, she had for 18 months zero income, right? So she
Mm-hmm.
she came to us, and in her first month she did $10,000. Second month she did 12,000. Her third month she did 18,000. In her fourth
Wow.
month she did $62,200, Alex. And that number will become germane in a moment. Now, we do quarterly events in Toronto. We just did one where we take thought leaders and we show them how to take their expertise and bring it to market to 10x plus their income. That was the program she was in. And
Mm-hmm.
60,000 is like a level we celebrate, right? We call it black belt. 10,000 is white belt, yellow belt's 20,000 a month. So she's the first woman at the time to get a black belt, right? No other
Mm-hmm.
woman had done it, just a bunch of men. So it was very exciting for her and the other women, right? Um, and when we came to bring her up, she was excited and it was all great. But then there was a part of the session where we have new people in the room, and I do my enrollment. Right, I tell them about our program, how they can
Yeah.
sign up, and the cost. And
Mm-hmm.
it's 40,000 US dollars. Like it's not a cheap program, right? And we had a bunch of people in the room that were new people, like 8 of them. And the way I do it is I ask our people to share why they should sign up. So I asked a couple of our people to do it every time, right? It's better than me doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, who
That's the
wants
money.
to who wants to share? This girl, I'm going to call her Julie. Julie doesn't wait for me to pick on her. She jumps on stage and almost knocks me down. And I'm like, oh, okay, come on up. And she starts looking at everybody and she's like this. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I hear her go, I'm like, is she crying? She's crying. And like every man, when I see a woman cry, the first thought in my head is, what did I do wrong? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she crying? So I work with my lady, and she brought her some tissues and she said thank you. And then she looks at me and she goes, Nicky, when you came, to Ottawa, because I came to Ottawa one day with my son. I forgot to tell this part of the story. So let me say, so I went to Ottawa from Toronto with my oldest son to play soccer. And we talked offline, right?
Yep.
And I called her and I said, hey, you have a son his age. You guys want to come watch some of the games? She goes, yeah, yeah, sure. So they did. And we had some lunch. Everybody went home. So that's the background. So she said to me, when you came to Ottawa with your son, my son said to me, Mommy, where are we going? Who are we going to go meet? Right? Little boys, they're excited, right? And she said, oh, we're going to go see and meet Nicky Billou and his son. She said, all of a sudden, my boy got really quiet. And that's unusual because, like, little boy's excited, energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
New
he
new
said to her,
adventure.
Mommy, are we going to meet the man who saved our family?
Wow.
So, bro, you may have gathered I'm not a pussy. I don't cry in public, right? I'm from Iran. I was born in a masculine culture, right?
Yep.
Buddy, I cried like a little bitch. I just cried and cried and cried and cried. Like, oh my God. Like, just, shh. And we hug and we're both crying. And then everybody else starts crying. It was like crazy, man. And then
Wow.
while she's crying, she says, I didn't tell you this, but I hadn't paid my mortgage in months and the bank was going to take our home away. I was fighting with my husband every day in front of our 3 sons, and they thought we were going to break up. I thought we were going to break up because of money. You helped me make money, and that saved our family. So, bro,
That's
there's
quite a
all these
testimony.
people in the room, right?
Yeah.
You understand this is a $40,000 ticket. This is not a cheap ticket, right? There's 8
Nope.
people that are prospects. I'm telling you, usually some people go, yeah, I'm in. Some people go, I'm out. Some people go, we got to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Always that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Always. Except that day. Do you know what happened that day?
Everyone signed up.
Everyone signed up immediately. Immediately. They fucking ripped the forms out of our hands to sign up. Ripped them out of our hands.
Wow.
One dude, now I gotta tell you this part of the story because this is really cool part of the story. One dude had told me the day before, and he was a sophisticated businessman. He said, Mr. Billou, Mr. Billou, Mr. Billou, I need to speak to you. He said, I says, listen, I have been at these events before, and I'm not going to be signing up for your enrollment opportunity because I know it's coming tomorrow. I just want you to know, don't be disappointed, okay? But I'm not going to be signing up for your enrollment opportunity. All right, man, whatever. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
He was the first fucker to sign up, the first. And
Wow.
he came to me and he just said, I said I wasn't signing up. I said, yeah, you did. And I said, what changed your mind? He said, I guess you're not full of shit like all the other ones. Bro,
That is.
bro, you know why I do what I do? I'm looking for the next Julie whose family is hurting, who needs somebody to believe in them, and they need someone to believe in who's not full of shit. That's why I do what I do. God gave me Julie, and that's it.
Wow. Well, that's quite a testimony and a story and all
Thank
of
you.
it together. And the thing that I mentioned that what that guy told you that you're not full of shit, it's it means a lot because in today's world of online, in today's online world, I'll put it this way. Um,
People are
like I've
craving authenticity, brother. They're craving reality. They're tired of
yeah.
full of
Oh
shitness.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tired
Yeah.
of full of
One
shitness. You're tired of full of shitness. We're all
one
done with it.
hundred percent. Yeah.
We're all done with
100%. Yeah. And
it.
the trust level is at an all-time low these days.
It is.
With all the misinformation and just the amount of information that comes in, and having this kind of stories and some that is just stories, but the way that you can help people,
Yeah.
I don't think many people can do something like this.
Yeah. And I'll say this to you, if as a way of saying kind of goodbye to everybody today, if you're listening to this and you are hurting yourself and you're in business and you need a solution, I invite you to have a conversation with me. I have a link to what I call a success call. It's like a breakthrough call or a strategy call or a discovery call. The names mean the same thing, right? And it's on my website. It's ecircleacademy.com/appointment. And just go there, fill out the form and the thing, and just say, I heard you're not full of shit. That's how I know they listen to on the show.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll definitely drop the link in the show notes
Thank you.
so people can go in and check it out. Well, not just check it out, but book the call and
So
get
absolutely.
help with their business because a lot of people do need that help. Like
Amen.
I know it based on experience. I've hired coaches. Like I'm currently working with coach as well, and it's extremely important. And whether it's I don't know why for some reason like sometimes people think that hiring a coach for a business like they don't need it. But it's pretty much the same thing as in sports. Like I've been practicing taekwondo for 15 years.
You
You
need an
can't do it
instructor.
with
You need an
yeah,
instructor. Simple as that.
yeah. You can't. You simply can't do it without a coach. I mean, I could watch videos. I could practice on my own. Maybe find a friend, but you
It's not
still need someone from the outside to look at the whole picture, to look at your
correct.
stance, to, and
Yeah.
it's exactly the same thing in every sport, and it's exactly the same thing in business. So
100%.
you guys should definitely uh, go and check out. Go and book a call with Nicky and have a conversation and see what he can do for you.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for having me on your show. Really pleasure.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome to have you on the show. As I always like to say, um, time is the most valuable asset, and I do appreciate you sharing it with me.
Ditto. Thank you, brother.